Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of E. Rodriguez, your boy E. Easy E on the mic once again for the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. It's a Wednesday. I hope you guys are enjoying your hump day. Hope you guys are having an amazing week. Hope you guys are, tuning in from show to show to show. We are Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. I know that that Eastern slot time at 11 p.m. might be a little hard. I know a lot of you guys want to sleep and stuff like that, but just so you know, you can sleep soundly to the beautiful symphony of my vocal cords. I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. Today lined up, we have the WWE NXT review. We also have our AEW Dynamite preview, and then we're gonna our third segment. We're gonna talk about how Tony Khan talks about exactly why, and he explains why he continues to kind of talk mess about the WWE in terms of like interviews and social media platforms. So we're gonna get into that. Also, Paul Heyman looking for kind of an out, trying to find a way to get out of the bloodline. It seems like he doesn't really belong. So we're gonna talk about maybe potential storylines for Paul Heyman moving forward in the WWE until Roman Reigns or maybe The Rock even come back. And lastly, we're gonna have a hot seat cool beans. We're gonna talk about AEW stars heading toward Double or Nothing to see if they have to do something about it. Their career. If Double or Nothing, the pay per view is the make it or break it. AEW president Tony Khan has stated that this is going to be one of the biggest pay per views and events in AEW history. So yeah, we're gonna say, if it's cool, where like if he doesn't do too much, it's not such a big deal. Or we're gonna say, hot seat. So kind of a lot of fire under their ass, knowing that this is kind of your make it or break it time for yourself as a company and as a superstar wrestling. For your time to kind of being propelled to something different. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right on into that. But before we move any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Give me your questions, statements, tell me where you're at, tell me where you're listening from. Absolutely ask me anything, guys. This is our podcast. This is a wrestling podcast. Wrestling fans, we unite every day. Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on the GSMC Sports Network. If you're not with it, I got three words for you. Just give it a chance. Give it a chance. It's a pretty cool show. It's awesome. Talk about wrestling. I absolutely love it when the fans interact with the show. We had a couple of comments that came on last show and a couple other shows before. It just makes things a lot more, a lot more smoother, a lot more funner. Definitely love it when you guys interact online and stuff like that. So we get a number of questions that come in from viewers like you that during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air for the millions of people, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Give me your questions. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Ultimately, giving to the tips and donations link, it just really helps the show, guys. Leave a positive review. It also puts your questions up on top of the list so I can see it. Again, the link is the GSMC podcast.net. So, yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into our first segment. We're going to talk about our WWE NXT review. It's actually pretty good in NXT. It had really good ratings despite the fact of NBA playoff basketball. So yeah, let's go and get on into it. So tonight we had Thea Hale start off, of Chase University against Fallon Henry. Ultimately, Fallon Henry was once part of the Chase University, but I don't know. The way that she kind of turned her back on Thea Hill and Chase U kind of sucks. It kind of left Thea like all by herself because you had JC Jane and Jasmine Nix like ultimately like they're coming after her. Obviously, what you kind of saw, but the match was good. I thought the match was overall really really good. Thea looked really really athletic. She looked like she's definitely ready to take the next step in her in her wrestling career. It looks like she could possibly be the face of the WWE NXT Women's Division, maybe going forward. I know there's a lot of talent, definitely a lot of talent, and now Thea Hale is not going to be in that six pack ladder match in NXT Battleground in Las Vegas because Fallon was impressive as well. You couldn't really dispute the fact that Fallon won simply because it was because Rich Holland got Chase U and their cheering section out of the out of the arena or Bayside from the ring, and I don't believe that. I refuse to believe that because Fallon Henry, she's a talented superstar, so definitely think she deserved it. After the match, when Fallon Henry picks up the victory, you saw Jasmine Nix come out, still trying to avenge the injury from JC Jane, thinking, well, with the overall thinking that Thea Hale was the one to break her nose. And she's on a mission. She's on a mission. Once again, I kind of thought this was going to happen because Nix has that storyline that's going to push Thea Hale to like this. I don't know. I feel a hardcore match coming. I feel like this is going to be pretty badass where the girls could, kind of go ape shit on each other and like, kind of bring back that, that old school attitude era esque of the WWE, which would be awesome, which would be pretty badass to see. So yeah, next we see Stax and Luca against Axiom and Frazier. It was kind of cool that Frazier and Axiom were like, you know what, if you want a chance at our titles, we're gonna do it right here, right now, and ultimately they did what it took to beat the family. The D'Angelo family falls short. They had a chance. Ultimately, didn't. It was kind of crazy because Stax and Luca had I feel like I felt like they were dominating most of the match. Definitely Axiom and Frazier, mostly like kind of like petite high flyers. Technical wrestling was against like powerhouse, brute force, and just just unpredictability of the Tony D'Angelo tag team that we're fighting tonight on WWE NXT. It was a good match. It was fun to watch, but ultimately, you saw Axiom and Nathan Frazier retain their championships, and I saw a move today. I saw him, I saw a move when I was analyzing the match. I saw a super kick into a brainbuster, which was absolutely like insane. I've never seen that before in my whole entire life, but I feel for it. I think it's an awesome move. I definitely think WWE should kind of incorporate more, innovative tag team, kind of mixtures, and maneuvers in terms of that. So, love Axiom, love Frazier. Definitely they deserved to, retain their championships. It would have been kind of stupid for, after the Heritage Cup, Tony D'Angelo winning against Charlie Dempsey, and all of a sudden you have the family wearing multiple gold. So I was happy that did not happen. So that was pretty cool. So next we saw Riley from Chase U in a promo confronting Rich Holland, and ultimately they're gonna fight it out. They're gonna fight it out in the middle of the ring, which is kind of what the ring is designed, for in terms of wrestling. Like, hey, dude, if you have a dispute, don't lollygag, don't throw shade at each other, don't like don't just, don't be that little, I can't say the word because, but like, you have a ring. You have a ring. You can definitely fight, 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 fight. Bam, bam, bam. You have to have the eye of the tiger constantly when you're a WWE superstar because I think Riley, I don't think he can necessarily, I don't think throwing Rich Holland out of your group right now, I don't think it's such a good idea because Rich Holland is obviously, I feel for Ridge. I really honestly do. It feels like he's trying to do the right thing. Feels like he's trying to get on the right step with one, at least an ally or something like that. And it always seems like after unfortunate circumstances, something happens and always ends up biting him in the rear end. So, going to be interested to kind of see what WWE NXT does, with Ridge Holland if they're just going to say F it, let's make this guy a heel where he like cost Chase you a chance at like the NXT World Tag Team titles. That could be a possibility ultimately, but patience. It's gonna take patience to find out what's going on. But next, we had a triple threat match. We had Joe Coffey against Wes Lee and Josh Briggs. It was a good match. It was a good match. I loved how Josh Briggs was, Bring the Fire. I liked it how he did the choke slam and he choke slammed Wesley on the coffee and he covered them both trying to get the pinfall, but then there was a double kick out. But I thought it was pretty cool. I love Josh Briggs. I kind of hate that, like I said before, once when Wesley came back, kind of ultimately like took that opportunity away from him. And I feel like Josh Briggs was, definitely in line. Same with Ivar for Oba Femi's NXT North American Championship. But it should be interesting now because of the turn events that happened on WWE NXT, where you saw Wes Lee and Joe Kofi basically land on Josh Briggs to cover him 1, 2, 3 at the same time. So we will have a triple threat match at WWE NXT Battleground in Las Vegas at the end at the UFC. At the UFC like that. They're I don't want to say headquarters because it sounds like I'm saying WWE headquarters. But anyways, it's going to be a great match. I think Oba Femi is ultimately going to be tested to the limits in terms of this match. Will he retain? I think, I'm like 75% thinking that he is going to. But, after recently with the, trying to predict matches, it seems like it's kind of, kind of bit me in the rear end because I don't know. I love the unpredictability. But at the same time, I really don't want Wesley to kind of move on and, reclaim the championship. Not yet, at least, at least so fast. So, yeah. So next we have next week on WWE NXT, Roxanne Perez will find out who she will face at WWE NXT Battleground in Las Vegas. I thought that was pretty cool how they kind of kept Ava on the phone, kind of keeping like a secretive superlative, like you didn't know who it was. So does that that brings up a lot of questions. Is it going to be someone who's on the roster already, or is it going to be someone that they're trying to bring in? I know Julia, that recently signed from New Japan Wrestling a couple months ago, is looking for. I ultimately thought she was going to come in during the North American Women's Championship inaugural tournament, but it doesn't seem like that's the direction they want to go. Perhaps maybe Roxanne Perez is going to fight against Julia at NXT Battleground. If you're going to introduce her, I feel like this is kind of like the best way to do it because I honestly can't think of anyone else. I can't think of anyone else, and I know like I'm kind of looking back at like the SmackDown main card and the Raw main card, and I'm like, who would want to come down to NXT to challenge for the championship? And I honestly can't think of anybody. So it's got to be someone to surprise. It's got to be some maybe. What if Alexa Bliss challenges? That'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty cool. But I think ultimately Alexa will debut on SmackDown or Raw. But that's a possibility. That's a possibility. So could happen. Could happen. All right, so next we have Lexis King, fighting Dante Chen. Dante Chen was ultimately able to pick up the victory, which was kind of cool because Lexis King is kind of a, kind of a jerk. Kind of reminds me of like a Baron Corbin circa 2022 with the Happy Corbin. Like he's just like, with his head up his ass and stuff like that. I liked how he lost. I thought it was pretty cool. I love the way that they're kind of painting him as a bad guy, though. Though, my philosophy on heels in the WWE, you shouldn't have them losing all the time. So I really honestly have high hopes for Lexis King. It kind of reminds me of, like I said, like kind of like a bootleg Baron Corbin in 2022. But I don't know why, but when I look at him, I think of Diamond Dallas Page at WCW. I don't know why. I think of DDP. Obviously I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I don't know. I'm getting some DDP vibes, which is kind of awesome. I would love, Lexus King to kind of fall into the steps of Diamond Dallas Page. So all right. So then we have Trick Williams once again. I said last podcast that this promo is going to go on. Trick Williams is going to basically say, like, I had nothing to do with it. You can't prove anything. I think it's stupid that you accuse me. And then Lash Legend is going to ultimately kind of back him up, which she did to a certain extent. And then you saw Gallus come out and attack Trick Williams. And then you saw Javon Evans try to come to his aid, ultimately to no avail. And I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So now you have Gallus ultimately probably going to be the main suspects for whoever took out Noam Dar. Maybe creating, because you have three dudes. And then if metaphor, you adopt Trick Williams for a pay-per-view, you have, kind of like a 3-on-3 match here. So don't be surprised if you see Trick Williams team up with Metaphor at least once before heading into NXT Battleground, which would be really good. Which would be really good for the match with Noam Dar because it'd be like, look, dog, or he'd be like, look, dog, I did not attack you, but we kind of got rid of the guys that did. We got rid of the guys that did, so now we can have a clean, honest match. For the WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship at Battleground. So I don't know. I can see this happening, next week, but it should be pretty interesting. I know next week they've already kind of announced that Evans and Trick Williams will take on Gallus by themselves. So maybe that kind of covers up any of the gray areas that we recently talked about. But I would honestly kind of like to see. I would like to see how when Trick Williams gets, kind of assimilated into the metaphor, Noam Dar and his right hand man, and they have like, I don't know, it'd be kind of interesting with Lash Legend. I think ultimately Metaphor is going to, probably kick out Lash, but it's a matter of time. It's definitely a matter of time. But she kind of stamped her ticket already to the six pack challenge for the inaugural WWE NXT Women's North American Championship. So good things coming for her. Good things coming for Trick. Definitely love that duo. So yeah, finally we're gonna talk about real quick. We're gonna talk about Karma Petrovic and Natalia Neidhart defeats Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler. This match was good, but the main story that kind of came out was what happened after the match. After the match, Shayna Baszler was trying to pick up her teammate, and Lola Vice didn't like it. She got upset. She felt disrespected. She felt like it was Shayna's fault. And now we have a match with Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice, and a battleground, no underground match at Battleground. So I think this is good for Shayna. I love the fact that they're trying to book her. I know, like recently on WWE Raw, you saw Sonya Deville confront, Stark and Baszler. So this could probably maybe tease uh, Sonya Deville maybe inserting herself with the tag team with Zoe Stark, because I think Shayna Baszler is probably going to stay on WWE NXT, which isn't a bad thing. Which isn't a bad thing, it's not a demotion in any way possible, any way, shape, or form. I just think it's better for her. I think she's a two-time WWE NXT Women's Champion, the kind of like the first to ever do it, and now you have Roxanne Perez do it. So I don't know, and then it just it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be a good match. It's good. I don't know where they're going to book Natalia and Carmen as of right now, but good things probably coming for the tag team at Petrovic and Neidhart. So yeah. So yeah, that was my WWE NXT review. Now we're gonna move on to our AEW Dynamite preview. So we're gonna talk about Dynamite. This is the last stop before Double or Nothing. So, but hey, stay tuned.